Hello, my dear children. Welcome to today's session. So, what are we learning today? Today, we will be learning about modes of transportation. Now, what is transportation? Yes, when we transfer goods or ourselves from one place to another, that is called transportation. So, we can't be sitting at one place forever. We need to move, we need to travel from one place to another, and that is being done by some or the other vehicle. Earlier, we used to do that by foot, but by foot, we could not travel to long distance. So, for longer distance, we need some or the other vehicle, and that vehicle is called mode of transport. So, we are going to learn about modes of transportation in this chapter. Why do we need to travel? How do we travel? And what are the different ways by which we travel or we send goods from one place to another? We all need to move from one place to another for our needs. What are those needs? We go to nearby places, nearby markets to buy groceries, to buy medicines, to buy clothes, to buy so many other things. We go to our workplace, children go to their school, different people go to their professions at their workplace. Our relatives come to meet us. We go to our relatives' place to meet them. Then from the place of manufacturing, the goods are being transferred to the other places. For all these purposes, for all these needs, we need to travel from one place to another. We go to nearby places and we also go to far off places for various purposes. For moving, we need some vehicles that can carry us. It is easy to walk for shorter distance, but we cannot walk to distance places. We use vehicles depending on the distance we need to travel. So, we need the type of vehicle according to the distance we need to travel. If we have to travel for just like a half kilometers to 1 2 kilometers, we can use a bicycle or a scooter or a bike. But if we want to travel to distant places, what do? Either we go by car or we use a public transport like buses or metro trains, railways. If we wish to travel very long distance like overseas or from South India to North India or vice versa, we can do that by using airways. All the vehicles we use to travel are called modes of transportation. Yes, so all the vehicles, they come under different modes of transportation, and according to where those vehicles move, we can broadly divide them into three categories. That is the land transport, the water transport, and the airways, the air transport. So we use different modes of transportation to different places for different purposes. We use transportation for traveling and for moving goods from one place to another. We can divide the means of transportation basically into three parts, and depending upon the ways, depending upon the surface they move on, means of transportation can be land transport, water transport, and air transport. So the vehicles that move on land, that is on road, or the tracks laid for the railways. There are two types of land transport, roadways and railways. Then if the vehicle is moving on water, then it is called the water transport, like steamers, cruise, ship, boat, yacht. And if the vehicle is moving in air, we call it air transport, like aeroplane, helicopter, rocket, jet, hot air balloon. So, let's start reading about each transport one by one. We can divide the means of transportation basically into three parts, depending upon the ways, Means of transportation can be land transport, water transport and air transport. Okay, so according to where the vehicles move, on that basis we can divide them into three categories: land transport, water transport and air transport. So first one, the most commonly used one and the cheapest way of traveling is the land transport. So it is the one of the most used modes of transportation, and it is also the cheapest mode of transportation. So we have different vehicles that move on land and the transportation of for the transportation of passenger and goods. And on land, again, there are two ways by which the people can travel. They can travel on the road directly, or they can travel through trains on the tracks on which are laid on the land, and on those special tracks the trains they move. So land transport is divided into two parts, that is roadways and railways. Now what are the roadways? The use of roads to travel is called roadways, like carts, bicycles, scooter, buses, trucks, tractor, trolleys, cars, etc. All are used to travel on the roads. All these means of transportation are used on roadways. Some of these means of transportation are two-wheelers, some are three-wheelers and some are four-wheelers. So two-wheelers and three-wheelers are used for shorter distances. So this is a three-wheeler, an auto rickshaw. Okay. So and while four-wheelers are used for longer distances. Now buses, sometimes trucks, sometimes they have eight wheels also. Now comes the railways. Railways are also part of land transport, but trains move on a specially laid path of iron tracks, and these tracks are called railways. Various kinds of trains travel on the tracks. There are short distances and long distances trains. So when a train is moving within the city, that is called a metro train, and that is for a shorter distance. And the train moves from one city to another city within the country, that is for longer distances, and that's called the trains. So in metro city, local trains are also used for local transportation, and these can be called as local and metro. Now, in land transport, animals are also being used to carry people and goods. So, the places like in villages where the roads are not very finely laid and the roads are not very even, there they use the animal carts like bullock carts, horse carts. Uh, so animals are used as land transport in some special areas where it is difficult and too costly to take motorized vehicles. We use elephants, horses, bulls, reindeer as the means of transportation of passengers and goods. In rural areas where roads are not good, people use animal driven carts like bullock carts or tonga. And in the forest, elephants are used to carry heavy logs, and they also carry passengers in forest area. Yaks and reindeer are being used in the snow covered areas. Uh, and in the desert, which animals are used? Camels are the main mode of transportation because they have a padded feet, which and these animals can move in desert area very easily. So you see that these are the animals which are used to transport goods and animals in different areas on land, whether it is snow or sand or desert or land or forest, any type. Now comes the water transport, and one more thing, that these animals which carry load are called draught animals. These are called draught animals. Now comes the second mode of transport, which is the water transport. There are vehicles which can travel on water. They are called means of water transport. So the earlier only one water transport was there, which was a boat, a wooden boat. Then came rafts, then it kept on developing, the water transport kept on developing, and the boats now became the speed boats made up of metal, and the big metal vessels like ship and cruise yachts, they are being the most commonly used water transport for transporting people and goods. So, water transport is a cheap way of transporting goods. Vehicles sailing on the water include ship, yacht, sailboat, steamer, cruises, etc. So, these are the picture of means of water transport. Now, air transport. Air transports are the fastest means of communication and they are the most expensive means of communication also. Why they are expensive? Because their body has to be made with special material which can sustain in air and it does not crash. Also, the fuel which is used in such transports, they are the special fuels, and the drivers, the pilots who are driving the air transport, they are specially trained to do that, to fly the air transport in air. So the fastest means of transport is traveling by air. Aeroplanes, helicopters, rockets, hot air balloons are some means of air transport. They travel long distance in less time. So are the costliest means of transport. So they are so fast that they travel long distance in a very short time. We can travel overseas in just few hours. So let's write that what is the meaning of modes of transport. So the modes of transport means carrying of goods on places. The vehicles used to carry goods and people from one place to another, that is called mode of transport. Which means of transports are used for local traveling? For local traveling, road transport is being used. Why is air transport the costliest means of transport? Because it covers the long distance in no time. In less time, in no time, then their fuel is special, the body by which the air transport is made is special, and the people who are flying these kind of transport, they are specially trained. Write any two means of water transport: ship, cruise, boat, yacht, sailboat, steamer. There are many. Now, there are special service vehicles. There are vehicles which are called emergency vehicles. Now, these emergency vehicles have a siren on the top of their body, which keeps on hooting and it tells the people that an emergency vehicle is coming and there is some emergency, some urgency, so that that emergency vehicle can rush at the place of urgency in hurry. And when that siren is hooting, people give way to the emergency vehicles. So what are the emergency vehicles? First is the ambulance, which carries sick people from their places to the hospital or from hospital to their places. Then there are fire brigades or fire engines, which are red in color and they rush to the places where there is a fire breakout and they have to rush there as soon as possible to extinguish the fire. Then there are police vans which keep on going on the road to see whether there is law and order being maintained. Also, they have to catch the burglars and the thieves, so they have to be given way so that they can rush to catch the thieves. So let's read about them one by one. There are some means of transport that are used for special purposes and they are used as service providers to common people. They are also used for emergency services. Ambulance. An ambulance is used to carry seriously sick and seriously injured people to the hospitals for their treatment in emergency. Fire engine. These fire engines are used to fight fires. They carry the equipments to put off fires and save the lives of people. Huge pipes of water are contained in these engines to extinguish fire. So that's why they have to be rushed to the place of emergency as soon as possible. Police van. This vehicle is used to carry the police personnel to maintain law and order in the area. The special thing about all these vehicles is that they carry a siren or a hooter that keeps on buzzing alarm the people to give the way on busy roads. They only move in case of an emergency, so they need to reach their destination in hurry. So the sound of the hooters make people understand the emergency, and then they give way to the emergency vehicles for them to pass. Another special vehicle is the postal van, and it is usually red in color and carries mails in them, carries letters in them. Now, what is the importance of transportation? Why do we need to transport? Means of transport are very important for us. We need them to travel far and near. We use these means even to travel in our surroundings. They save a lot of time and energy. So, by using modes of transportation, we save our energy and time because, of course, any mode of vehicle is faster than walking by foot. Local transport is very helpful in moving around. We can easily carry weight and goods with us, which will be very difficult to carry while walking on foot. We have to travel daily to our places of work, and these vehicles save us from getting tired of covering the distance on foot. Traveling to school becomes easy. You people might be traveling by school buses or by your personal car, scooter, bikes, bicycles. So that's how it becomes easy to travel to the workplace and to the school. We enjoy the time and surrounding while traveling by bus and train to distant places and reach the destination in less time. So when we are traveling from one place to another, the distant places, we just look out of the window of the vehicles and we have a blissful feeling of looking at the beautiful nature and the surroundings. We can frequently meet our family and friends with the means of communication. So earlier, when the means of communication was not very means of transportation was not very strong, people could not meet their relatives very often because just of the traveling time and the amount of tiredness they used to get while walking on foot. But means of transportation has made it very easy to meet our friends and relatives quite often. So these are the terms that we learned today. Transport, moving from one place to another, is called transport. Draught animals, animals that carry load for us, are called draught animals. Extinguish is to put off the fire. Also remember that we need modes of transport for traveling. We use means of transport for different purpose and distances. There are mainly three means of transportation, that is land, water and air. Land transport includes roadways and railways. We use two-wheelers, three-wheelers and four-wheelers to move on land by road. Railways are used for local transportation as well as for distance traveling. Water transport is the cheapest way of transporting goods, whereas the land transport is the cheapest way of transporting people. Airways use less time to reach far off places. There are some special service vehicles which help the common people. Let's complete this exercise and see what have we learned in today's lesson. You have to circle the odd one out. Ambulance, policeman, fire engine and metro. Metro. Rest all are the emergency and special vehicles. Scooter, car, cycle, motorcycle, car. Car is four-wheeler, rest all are two-wheelers. Car, bus, scooter, truck, scooter. Rest all are four-wheelers, scooter is two-wheeler. Sailboat, bullock cart, camel cart, tonga, sailboat. Rest all are being drawn by draught animals. Hot air balloon, ship, yacht, cruise. Hot air balloon because that's the air transport, and rest all are water transport. Let's fill in the blanks. An ambulance carries sick and injured people. Dash moves to maintain law and order in the area, a police van. Sledge is pulled by reindeers in snow-covered areas. Tonga is pulled by horse. Air transport is the fastest mode of transportation. Let's tick the correct statements and cross out the wrong ones. We need to travel to reach our workplaces, correct. Two-wheelers are used to travel long distance, wrong. Railways and roadways are the water mode of transportation, wrong. We use elephants to carry goods and passengers in forest, correct. We travel to school in an ambulance, no, a school bus. Answer the following questions in your notebook yourself. We can discuss over here in short. Why do we need to travel? We need to travel to our workplace, to our school, to meet our relatives, to the places from where we buy the daily need items. So that's why to fulfill our needs, we need to travel. How are aeroplane useful as means of transport? It covers the long distance in very less time. Name 3 means of transportation pulled by animals: bullock carts, horse carts, tonga, elephant carts. How are modes of transport important to us? To travel short distances and long distances, different modes of transport are important to us according to the distance we want to cover. Right to now, these are the some fun based exercise which you can do yourself with your family, with your friends, and have fun with the lesson. Now you have to write 2 sentences each about 2 service vehicle and draw their picture and color them. So you can draw or paste pictures of an ambulance, police van, postal van, fire engine, and write 2 lines about them. Now there are a few questions over here. Where do you go to catch your train? We go to the railway station. Write any 5 things you see at the railway station. So if you ever get a chance to go to a railway station, please observe it and you can write it over here. If not, you can just search internet and look at the picture of a railway station and see what do you find there. We find food counters there, we find railway tracks there, we find ticket counters there, we find many other things at the railway station. We catch a bus at a bus stand. Now write any 5 things you see at a bus stand. We find bus at the bus stand. Then we find different people at the bus stand. What other things do you observe at the bus stand? Next time you are standing at a bus stand, please observe it and write the things that you see there at the bus stand. Then, if you ever get a chance to go to an airport, so please write the 5 things that you observe at an airport, like a trolley, a food counter, a ticket counter, the luggages, all those things you observe at an airport. So please observe it and write it over here. Now there are two emergency vehicles over here, and this is a very fun based exercise. You can join the dots and complete the picture and color it. What should we do if we see any of the above moving on the road? We should give way to it so that the emergency vehicle can rush to its destination as soon as possible. You have to find the picture of different modes of transportation from internet, save them, print them and paste them over here. The air transport, land transport and water transport. So that's all for today in this lesson. I hope you have learned a lot in today's lesson about the different modes of transportation. Why do we need to transport ourselves and to goods and the goods? Why do we need to travel, and what are the different modes by which we travel? And what are the emergency vehicles, the special vehicles? So keep learning, keep shining. Bye bye.